Hey everybody, it's Eric from EP Autos, your Libertarian car guy, and I'm squaring off here against the new Kia K900. Let's get a side profile view of it. This is Kia's first attempt at a full-size luxury car. It is related to the Hyundai Equus. It's a bit smaller than the Equus, and it's a whole lot less expensive than the Equus, and it's a lot less expensive than something like a Mercedes S or BMW 5. It's actually priced in virtually the same ballpark as a Mercedes E or a BMW 5, and some of the interesting things that this vehicle touts that those don't is a standard V8 engine to begin with. A standard V8 engine in this car, whereas Mercedes now fits the E-Class with a 4-cylinder turbo diesel as its standard, and then its step up is a gas V6. And it no longer offers a V8 whatsoever unless you count the AMG version of the E, which really is its own separate vehicle. But run-of-the-mill versions of the E-Class only come with 4 and 6-cylinder engines. BMW puts a turbo 2.0 liter 4 in the 5 Series, and of course you can upgrade that to an inline 6 with a turbo. And there is a V8 with twin turbos, but the car costs about $10,000 more than this thing does. With a 5-liter 420 horsepower V8. It's slightly downrated on paper versus the same basic engine that you get in the Equus and also the Genesis. The other thing that this car has that really stands out is a limousine. If it'll let me in here, come on, let me in. Limousine-esque back seat. It's got 2 to 3 inches more backseat legroom than is typical in the mid-sized class. Basically, you got a full-size car here for a mid-sized car price tag. Let me pop myself in here to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm 6'3", and you can see how much legroom I've got in here. It's a much tighter fit inside the Mercedes E and the BMW 5. It's really nicely appointed back here. You'll notice that it's got privacy screens. Now these are manual shades. Behind me is the power shade, which comes standard in the car. Also this panorama sunroof, which is standard in the car. And here's something that's pretty neat too. Look at the center console, and you've got your own separate controls for the standard rear seat heaters. And these back seats can be slid forward and back, and the back part goes back and forward too. It's another unusual thing to find, particularly in this price range. The headliner is nicely finished with this Alcantara. That's the term that they use now in the business material, which is kind of a nice soft suede thing. Some have criticized the leather for being somewhat flat looking and not quite as nice as what you'd get in some of the other prestige brand, and I agree with that. That's generally true. It's not shabby, but it's a notch down from what you'd find in some of the other cars. But note that even these door pulls, you probably can't see the stitching based on the angle that I've got this camera. But these door pulls are nicely done up in leather and stitched, and you've got these nice little aircraft style lights. It's a really high-end looking and pleasant and super comfortable environment back here. Let's go up to the front and take a look at the cockpit. All right, and start it so that you can see this. It's got a digitized, full digital dashboard here, very much like what you'd find in current high-end cars such as the S-Class Mercedes I reviewed a couple of months back. And this is configurable. Now this one has the optional display. This isn't standard, but just to show you what it does, if you put the drive mode here into Sport, watch what happens. You'll see that it switches over to this digital type readout with your speedometer to the left and your tach on the right. And if you hit the drive mode again, it goes back to this standard type layout. There's also a HUD, which you might be able to see in front of me, maybe not, and that also is an optional piece of equipment. 8-speed automatic. One of the neat things that Kia offers, it's kind of unusual, I don't think anybody else actually offers this yet, is this auto hold mode, so that let's say you're at a red light, and you don't want to put the transmission into park, but you don't want the car to creep forward. You can push this button and it will automatically apply the brakes so the car won't move, and you can take your foot off the brake if you like and then push it again to get going. This is the standard interface right here. This is a 9.2-inch screen. Also, this is another area where they kind of copied Mercedes with this old-timey radio type dial, but it looks good and it's all very functional. to point out a couple of the things that I really like about the car inside. It's got really good seat heaters. Those are the buttons for them there, 3 stages. I like that they have all the controls for the seat up here rather than down here on the side of the seat where you can't really see them and it's harder to get to them. To point out another thing where you'll notice, it's just a small thing to nitpick. It's a really small thing. But watch what happens when I push open the door. It just kind of pops open and pops closed. If you get into an S-Class, it's just really fancy, and there's like a little finger swipe thing, and you touch it, it gently lowers. But that's what you're paying literally $40,000 more for to get into something like an S-Class. This is an extremely attractively laid out car. It may have some derivative or familiar, to use a nicer adjective, things like, for example, this toggle shifter is similar to what you'd find in current BMW products. And let's go outside here and I'll show you something else that's somewhat familiar, again, to use the nicer term. From the side, what they've done is to take a lot of the Optima styling cues, including these dummy air vents. These are dummies, they don't do anything, but they look kind of good. If you look at the front, you'll see a grille that's remarkably Jaguar-esque. Might even fit the current Jaguar. I don't know, it'd be fun to try. But it does have a kind of unique, cool twin quad projector headlights. See, there's 4 in each one. And it's just a really nice, good-looking, and comfortable car. Rides on a big wheelbase, almost 120 inches, just a little bit less than what you'd find in a Mercedes S-Class, and 7 inches less than what you get in the current Mercedes E. Anyway, more details are up at the website, which is, of course, www.epautos.com, and we've also changed the site around a little bit, and you'll see that Clovercam, our section that's devoted to terrible drivers of all descriptions, is now on the main page, and you can submit videos there if you like. Meanwhile, I'm going to get inside because it's starting to snow and get cold here. Apparently we're going to get a big storm. So please go to the site, take a look at the review, and let us know what you think, and we'll catch up with you on the flip.